Hey you guys, it's Ty and welcome back to my channel where I hope you guys stay uplifted, motivate you, and find peace amongst yourself. So if you're interested in these type of videos, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up by leaving a like, make sure you're commenting down below, and make sure you're subscribed, as well as follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter at Ty_guidance and on Facebook at Talks with Ty to stay up to date. So I just want to say good evening, you guys. Good afternoon. It's currently Thursday, September 23rd, 2021. And it's going on 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I hope you guys have been enjoying your week so far. I hope your day is going well and has been productive, as well as this month, by reflecting and taking each day for what it is. So welcome and welcome back. For those of you who are new, welcome and hello, greetings. And for those of you returning who have your notifications on, thank you guys so much. It means a lot to see that you guys have your notifications on by supporting and being subscribed. So for today's video, we will go over and discuss, how do we get at peace with our past? How do I get at peace with my past? So, sorry you guys, my lips are a little dry and I don't like my lips to be dry. So how do I get at peace with my past? So something that I like to do, for those of you who are new here, is use a dictionary or the source. And recently I've been using the internet dictionary by picking out keywords from the title/topic and defining them. The reason why I like to do this, and when I realized when this helped me along my journey, was to understand perception and understand how I perceive and interpret information. And what I realized when it comes to suggesting and advising information, because that's what I'm here for you all to do on my channel, is to understand by refreshing and reassuring ourselves on what these words mean, how they have a significant value, to not only better understand the title/topic and what we're going to be discussing, but to understand how we may perceive the information and how it could be applied to us effectively every single day. So with that being said, let's get started with today's video. How do I get at peace with my past? So the words that I chose to define and break down for you all from the title/topic was the word peace and the word past. The word peace could be used as a noun or a verb, or you can use it as an exclamation depending on how you are feeling. So peace is when you have freedom or you're able to be calm. Peace is when you have a period of where there's no war or no harm, so having order or lawfulness or tranquility. And tranquility is when you have the quality of being calm. And calm means you're in the state from being free and having strong emotions. So peace also could be used as a verb, meaning to be still or to be, I'm sorry, I'm trying to read this as I'm speaking. To be still or to understand. It says law and order. So law and order is a situation that is characterized by respect of obedience and rules that may apply to society. So that's what the word peace means. So the word past is an adjective, a noun, a preposition, or an adverb. The word past is when a time period that no longer exists, so something that has gone by, a time period of when time existed before the moment. And the word past could be used as to indicate a time period that has overcame. So how do you get at peace at your past? Excuse me, that's tongue twisting. So what I realized, honestly, you guys, and what I've realized seriously when it comes to understanding who I was and my purpose, before I had started my channel, maybe like 2 years ago, I was going through, I wouldn't say a mild depression, because I haven't always been depressed. It wasn't until I had certain events traumatically in my life that I realized that I didn't know how to cope with, and that's why I started this channel. And just because I've always been the type of individual to challenge myself and understand why. So like having awareness. So what I've realized is that when it comes to finding peace with your past, for me, and what I suggest and advise to you all, and it's really important, and when it comes to mental health or just understanding yourself, is forgiving yourself. A lot of the times in my videos, I've talked about understanding yourself, understanding what you went through, how it made you feel, taking the time to reflect and you know, allow the moment to be that, so allow your emotions to be that. But what I've realized, the number one thing is forgiving yourself, not the situation, not the people, because everybody in life is going to suffer and experience trauma regardless of where you are. Everyone, whoever is born and existing right now, wasn't aware of their existence. So nobody in life asked to be born. So when it comes to things that happen to us, and a lot of people question and may not be aware or understand, knowing that it's not your fault. So forgiving yourself, like what I realize is that when you learn to forgive yourself, and it's a process, it may take everyone, you know, a certain amount of time and energy. When you learn to forgive yourself, you can then understand why you went through what you went through and understand how it made you feel, how you want to move forward, and what you want to move on. Like, I've realized you cannot fix what has happened to you in the same environment or in the same space that caused your suffering or your problem. So forgiving yourself, and I mean that like in the most civilest way, that is something I've realized that a lot of people, what I suggest and advise, should start to do. And for me, I had to forgive myself. Like, so for example, I've talked about things on my channel, like how I've suffered from getting into a car accident that cost me my life to end up having scoliosis, how I've gone to jail, how I've been broke, how I've gotten fired from a job, how I've had a parent who passed away who I wasn't able to speak to, how I was in a relationship that wasn't, you know, the best for me, toxic, um, how I've suffered from being, you know, in an abusive relationship, toxic relationship, suffering with a miscarriage, and just going through life, just trying to understand who I was. It wasn't until I was 20 years old, so almost 4 years ago, that I had my awareness and understanding of who I was and what I wanted to be. It wasn't until the end of last year and the beginning of this year that I started to align and to understand my purpose, because everybody in life, I believe, has their own purpose. So regardless of who you are and where you want to be, learning to understand what you want to do for yourself. And another thing I realized when it comes to accepting your past and learning to forgive yourself is to not compare yourself or to look at other people when it comes to understanding who you are. Because on my channel, I suggest and advise information, and everything that I'm speaking from is from past experience that I've already been exposed to. So like, I don't tell people how to feel. This is a non-judgmental channel. I know that a lot of people are not going to be able to understand that or try, because a lot of people like to talk crap, a lot of people like to judge you without knowing. Me personally, I've never been the type of person to really care about how people physically, their appearance was, but their mind. So I'm not going to sit there and say I've never judged people for anything, because everybody gossips, everyone talks, whether it's good or bad. But learning to, I guess, come to awareness of maturity to realize how is that aligning with you. So when it comes to forgiving yourself, like, what I suggest and advise is really just breaking down, crying, yelling, screaming, or shout, or writing down how you feel. So getting a notebook, some type of writing utensil, paper and pen, writing down how you feel, expressing yourself to people, so surrounding yourself with like-minded people, or removing yourself from people who cause, you know, suffering and may not understand, as well as, you know, looking at yourself in a mirror and finding whatever coping strategy. But like, forgiving yourself is the number one thing you have to do if you want to move forward. And it is not something that is going to be, maybe, what is the word? It may not be, okay, excuse me. It's a process, because I'm not going to say anything is easy or hard, because anything can be easy or hard to anybody. It depends on how you perceive it. It's a process. When you learn to forgive yourself, you have to learn that it's a process, because the longer it takes you to forgive yourself, or the longer it takes you to even realize that you need to forgive yourself, is part of the process. Like, people suffer, people go through things, and they're like, how come, you know, my life isn't better? Or they hold grudges and they wonder why, you know, nothing in their life changes. So for example, I live in America, and how it's been in the world and society, it's been statistically and set up against anybody who's minority. Like, to be honest, you guys, I have a purpose. So this is my purpose. Everything goes back to our history. Everything goes back to our culture, and in our society, in our culture, how things were set up long time ago by a certain group of individuals is the reason why we're here today. No, I don't hold grudges. No, I know everybody in the world is not like that, but to understand that that is the number one reason why everybody in the world is suffering. And then when you look at the history, you look back where things started, you're able to understand how you're affected. Once you realize and you get that level of awareness, you can then move forward and understand your environment and your reality. So for example, I didn't ask to be born. I didn't ask for my parents to be born. And a lot of people like to hold other people accountable for their suffering, not realizing that everybody too suffers. So like, for example, if you have a toxic relationship with your family, do you realize how your family was raised? Do you realize the environment they were raised? Everything goes back to a starting point. And just like us, we have a starting point, which is our date of birth, and we have a final destination, which is our end point. So learning to forgive yourself and understanding will allow you to find peace with your past. Like if you're not able to take the time to break down and get into the knit of the grit of how you feel, it may be harder for you. That's why a lot of people hold grudges. That's why people gossip. That's why people talk bad about you. That's why the closest people to you cannot support you or appreciate you or understand your dreams or who you want to be or say the things they do, because they've never had anybody showing them. That's what a lot of people fail to realize. So finding peace with yourself is understanding the lessons and realizing that when it comes to individuals, you cannot be responsible for anybody other than yourself. That's why I also started this channel, to let people know that when it comes to understanding yourself, when it comes to healing, when it comes to finding peace amongst yourself, because that's my whole thing, it's more than just your mental health, like your awareness. You have to realize where you were. So if something happened to you and it was tragic and you suffered, like, how did it make you feel? Did you understand why you went through that? Because in life, there are no mistakes. Everything that happens to us is based off of the direction we choose. So for example, everyone starts off being born, and it's a path. Ever since that path, even though we did not ask to, start this path, we're brought into this path. And that's why everyone is first lost. Anyone who was entered into this galaxy, because we live on Earth, we live on a planet. Anyone who was a fetus before a baby, that's why it takes 9 months to be brought into the world, was brought into a path unknowing. So you start your life already not knowing who you are. And then once again, we live in a corrupt world where the society controls us and has, a lot of things that may not be the best. And once again, our environment, going back to history, looking at the time, looking at, why things were. And as you learn and grow to look and pay attention and reflect, you can learn to find peace. But when it comes to finding peace, you have to be responsible for yourself. So for example, I made certain decisions in my life because I didn't have the knowledge and the awareness. And it's not a mistake, because you're going to make decisions in life, whether you're aware of them or not, and realizing that with every action you have, it comes with consequence. And like I said, everyone's starting off in a path, and that's the thing. A lot of people are so confused and unaware and are lost because they don't realize that they've been existing. So ever since you've been existing in the past, the word past, really quickly, once again, is a moment that no longer exists. So like if you were born like me in 1997, that was 20 something years ago. We can't go back to 20 something years ago when I was born. So I've been existing, rather I've been aware of that or not. And once again, coming to your senses, coming to awareness, because we are more than just our physical body. But once again, how the world is set up and how it's designed, they don't want people to know who they are, their intentions, and who they are. But me personally, because I've already was lost and I found myself, I'm here to speak on it. Not just, for mental health, but just because who I am in society and how the world is set up. So finding peace is understanding that you're going to be lost because you didn't ask to be born. Learning to forgive yourself, learning to forgive your parents, learning to forgive yourself. For example, my parents, it's not that I was angry with them or mad at them or can hold them for their responsibility, because once again, there's no right or wrong way to be a child or an adult. So I have parents who were kids and they were on their own people, which means I have grandparents, and my grandparents were raised by a certain group of people, an environment. And once again, these environments, so me being a brown woman in a colored woman, like how I was raised compared to other people who do not look like me, who do not have the same access and the resources. Like when you learn to forgive yourself, you can't hold other people responsible for your actions and your decisions. That's the same thing with me. Like the path, everyone is going to get to a destination in their life. That's why there's no coincidence. There's no conspiracy theories. We live on planet Earth. Nothing that comes from the sky is going to come from the sky other than rain or snow. So meaning things don't just fall out from the sky. We live on the bottom. That's why there's gravity in the air. So knowing how you were raised, knowing what you've been through, and knowing what you know now. So if you don't know anything about yourself, start reflecting and realize, when you suffered, how did it make you feel? What decision did you make? How did you act and how did you respond? A lot of people are lost naturally because that's what they want. They don't want people to be aware and tap into their full-blown potential. So it's easier for a lot of people to be controlled and disciplined and think otherwise and go against and have chaos and issues. And it's unfortunate because now, as people can realize, as you grow and people are starting to be aware, you're starting to realize like what you put out is what you get into this world. So learning that your parents who may be toxic or the environment that you're in, no one is taught to be like a racist, no one's taught to be a criminal. Like, you have to be, I mean, excuse me, not taught, no one is raised to be a criminal, no one's raised to be a racist. Like, you have to be taught that. So for example, in order for someone to sit here and be racist or someone to commit a crime, they have to be exposed to a certain environment. Like, as a baby, you don't even know you exist. And that's why it's so important to, one, forgive yourself, because forgiving yourself allows you to realize, hey, I didn't even ask to be born. My parents didn't even ask to be born. Their parents didn't ask to be born. And that everyone is doing the best that they can, because once again, people don't know who they are. And because the world is so chaotic and wants to go against people, so people can't be aware, it's easier for you to be chaotic. It's easier for you to be angry. It's easier for you to hold grudges and being guilty. And it's just like, when it comes to making peace with your past, you have to take your time. Like I said, it took me up until I was 20 years old because I kept making certain decisions where it almost cost me my life. And I'm going to talk about that later whenever it's presentable for me to speak on it, to realize that I did not have maybe like the guidance, or I did have the guidance, I just chose to go against it. So being mindful, like being accountable, in order to make peace with your past, like you have to accept that you made certain decisions and that it's a part of your life. Once again, that's why you want to learn from what you do, because everything you do in your life affects you, and it is very important. Like, one thing that's guaranteed to everybody is death, and there's no age expectancy in life. That's why I don't tell people on my channel, whether you're 20, 30, 40, or 100, like that you're gonna live forever or that life is long, life is short. Life is whatever you choose to do, because everyone has a different path, everyone has a different destination. Like, you cannot leave this earth alive. So meaning understanding where you started, where you are now. Like I said, it wasn't up until I was 20 years old that I was completely lost. From 20 to now, I've been found myself. Like I said, it was just me actually putting in that action so it can make sense. So once again, I'm already speaking from a higher self. I'm already speaking from my future self to be in the present day, because the past, the present, and the moment in the future is all aligned. So realizing that you control your happiness, you're going to have to decide how you react and feel. So when you go through situations, it's not a coincidence, it's not a mistake. So realize, if we're born as babies and we're not aware, and then you live your life, let's just say you're sheltered, you go to school, let's just say you're privileged, or even if you're not privileged, you only know what you've been exposed to. You only know a certain environment. It's not until you start to make more decisions, rather you're aware, or you are aware and you realize how it affects you. You cannot change something if you don't understand completely. Like, you can't solve a problem if you do not take the time to break it down and diagnose it. Like, you cannot solve the issue or come up with a solution if you don't understand what the problem is. And once again, the world is very corrupt. It is very brainwashing to a lot of people, to belittle and to lack knowledge, to being ignorant, to realize where you live, who you are, what you're capable of. And realizing that if you're not doing things that align with your true potential, because everyone does have a purpose in life, because you would not exist if you did not, regardless of who you are and where you're supposed to be in your life, you're going to start to get off track. And it doesn't matter if you go left or right. Everyone has to leave here not being alive. So everyone is going to come to a due date. That's why it's so important to be mindful and to grow through things in your life and realize, is this aligning with you or is it not? Like, Monday through Friday, I say this all the time, does not change. Saturday through Sunday is not going to change. The only thing that changes in the year, December through January, is not going to change. Yesterday, I think, was September 22nd, 2021. It would never be a September 22nd, 2021. So for all the pandemic babies that were just born yesterday, that's it. And knowing that time is going to move forward and time doesn't wait for anybody. So learning to get at peace with your past, forgiving yourself, and it takes time. Like, it takes time to forgive yourself, especially because once again, like, we as people, we have hearts, so we're going to have emotions. Like, nobody is top dog, savage, cold-hearted. Before somebody becomes numb or is cold-hearted, savage, they had to feel. All of us are born children. We're innocent, and that's when we're the most intelligent and the most pure. But once again, if the world is corrupt and the world is, you know, not the best, has the best intentions for people, especially, like I said, anybody of color, you're not going to understand why you live in a certain environment that you do. You're not going to realize that a certain group of people control the world or try to dictate a certain group and make you feel some type of way. It's not until you're in jail or you're dead or you have to struggle and you're upset and angry, then you try to tear other people down. And it's very chaotic. It's very wicked. Once again, I'm here to show up. I'm a representative. I have a higher calling, higher purpose, because I am aware I had to learn to forgive myself in order for me to say that I'm Tarsatai and become the person that I am, which is a prophet. I am, here as a messenger because I know that I'm not going to be here forever. I know that I am time traveling, living through life right now as a representative, as a humanitarian. I had to forgive myself. I had to focus on what I had. I had to accept the things for what they were. I had to not feel guilty, and I had to realize that I'm responsible for our lives, and that I was born into a society that was very corrupt, very wicked. Like I said, me being who I am. So specifically, like, having Native American ancestors and Egyptian ancestors, foreign ancestors, to realize that, okay, like, how this world was set up. But once again, I have nothing to fear because I know what is real in this world and I know it's fake. So understanding that it's going to take time, when it comes to getting peace with your past, like, you want to acknowledge how you feel. That's another reason why I started this channel, because if you do not express yourself or learn to speak on the things that you want to, everything is going to stay inside. So sorry about that, you guys. As I was recording, my phone just like cut off, but it's interesting how it did that. This new iPhone 13 just came out, and now all of a sudden my phone wants to act up. But anyway, it's like, knowing that you have a choice. In order to find peace with your past, in order for you to move forward, you have to know that it takes time. And in order to heal, it takes time. It takes forgiveness and forgiving yourself. So before we talk about forgiving situations, other people, and all of that good stuff, because like I said, that's what we're going to be talking about for October, for the end of this year, and the years to come. Like, life is just an opportunity and experience. So the more you hold in, the more you're unaware, the only person who is affected is going to be you. So practicing daily and allowing yourself to just relax and forgive yourself. Like, forgive yourself. Start telling yourself, Ty, I'm sorry, or whatever your name is, Jackson, Bryson, Michael, Jada, Lauren. Say you're sorry. Tell yourself you're sorry and apologize. You may cry, you may scream, you shout, but you have to forgive yourself. Like, I had to forgive myself for putting myself through things that I, didn't understand, or what I did understand and realize that I deserve better, and that to never do it again. And in order to apologize, you have to say what you mean by proving yourself through your actions. It's easier for a lot of people to say some things without holding themselves accountable and moving forward with their actions. So for example, how I put myself through a relationship because I felt like being bored or just being entertained, to not do that again, because the only person who suffered and lost anything was me. And if I care about myself, and as you learn from your lessons in life, because it's all life is just an experience, you don't make certain decisions. You're able to grow, you're able to become who you need to be. In order for me to become my higher self, I had to learn and grow and forgive myself for the things that I went through. So how do you get peace with your past? Like, focus on the lessons you learned from, and think about the things that were unfair or unpleasant, so you're not stuck. Be realistic about your perspective. Understand that you need to spend time on why you were stuck in that moment, how it affected you, and what you can do to move forward. So knowing that it takes time, and that when it comes to finding peace with your past, that you're not alone, you're not the only person. And once again, I'm here now. Like, it is what it is. It's my time, it's your time. This is real, you guys. So like, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Live your life, and don't forget to say YOLO. So know that we have a lot to work on, and that it's a choice. So it doesn't matter how long it takes you. as long as you are willing to put in effort and you don't give up. That's all I can say to you guys.